the Russell of Book Club author interaction. As the world faces an unprecedented challenge today of the coronavirus pandemic, most of us are dealing something we would probably have never faced in our lifetimes. This situation where we are completely homebound with no mobility at all, this combined with the constant bombard of information is something which is very hard to deal with. That why Russell of Book Club has started as platform for everyone, inspiring stories from authors, writers, illustrators. We will be bringing you which has great amount achievements who have inspired us in our lives. Today we have Neil de Silva, who is a very famous author and writer. And how are you, Ji? Yes, welcome to the session. Yes.
Thank you. I'm very happy that you are doing this thing during the pandemic so that people have something to look forward to. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah. And thank you for accepting our invitation, sir. We'll go ahead with our questions. What inspires you in writing and writing horror stories?
Okay. So yeah, as many of the people listening to me would be knowing that I write horror, and I started writing in 2015. I have now 15 horror books, and I started as I started with Maya's New Husband, which was my first novel. And now I have, books published with houses such as Rupa, Penguin, and Hachette. Still many more to come. And it is all because of the love of the readers that I keep on writing. Now to come to your question, what inspired me to write horror? So the thing is, even as a child, even when I was just 12, 13, I had this kind of fascination for reading dark stories. So my house was filled with books. There were books all around the house because my dad, he was a very big reader and he was also a collector of books. So I think only 10% of the books he must have read, but there were so many. It was almost like a library. So when I used to be alone in the afternoons, I used to just try to select the books, whichever I would get, and try to read. And first I started with comics and Enid Blytons and stuff. And then my interest went on to the horror books. I found in my dad's library books such as, Dracula, Frankenstein, and I started reading them. And somewhere I was not scared of the books, but I was fascinated by them. I wanted to create stories just like those authors had. And that fascination stayed. And later on, when my dad started subtitling movies, Hindi to English. He used to do that job. And one of his clients were the Ramsays. So all the Ramsay movies used to come to our house. And my dad used to sit on his typewriter and translate those Hindi movies into English. And I would be sitting next to him and watching, how he's very fast used to type. He would be able to type even with his eyes closed. And I would also read the scripts of the movies, how it is going on, and the Bhoot Banglas and the Havelis and all stuff, and get fascinated even at that age. So somewhere that all stayed with me. And, all the web series and that time, of course, no web series, the shows, like, Z's Art, Sony Ka Art, I suppose it was. I don't really remember. There was this Z horror show and there was Ahart and all these Koi Hai, there was one more show. So watching all those shows one after the other, somewhere, I had this very big fascination for horror. And that's how it stayed. That's how it developed, I suppose.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. The next question is, how did publishing your first book change your process of writing?
So the story of why I published my first book itself, is the answer to that. The thing is, when I finished my post-graduation, I started a coaching class. So that was my profession for the next 18 years of my life. I was a tutor, a teacher rather. I would say that it was a big institute because we had at a time like 500 students and a staff of 40. So it was a big institute. But teaching and being in that one classroom for so many years, it somehow got to me. I love teaching. I still love teaching a lot. But I felt like, okay, what am I going to do with my life? Am I going to only teach the knowledge and the wisdom that is already there in the world, or am I going to do something new? What about the stories that I wanted to tell? Because as a child, I used to even write books and distribute to friends and all. So what about that? So I used to feel like, I want to do something creatively. And somehow I was not satisfied. So in 2014, I decided to write a book. And that story came to me when I was on a trip in Goa with my wife and my kids. So a story came to me and I told my wife that I want to write a book. She told me, go ahead and write it. What's stopping you? So I wrote my first book, Maya's New Husband, which then I published on Amazon KDP in 2015, Jan 3rd. The book became a big hit because I don't know how, I don't know why. I did not even market the book. I just spoke about the book on Facebook and some places like that. But a lot of people got interested in the subject matter of the book, which was of a woman who is married to a serial killer husband and she doesn't know he's a serial killer. So that is a big secret, that this kind of a dynamic of the relationship that hit a chord with the people, and the people wanted to read the book. A lot of them shared on social media quotes from the book, pictures of them holding the book, and it became a big sensation kind of stuff, that a kind of a cult hit. The book was on number one on Amazon for a long time in the horror category. And when that happened, I was somewhat, swept away because I did not even expect 10 people to read my book, to be very honest. It was my first book. I had absolutely no idea how it is going to perform. And still, people read it. And all of a sudden, there were these people recognizing me as an author and calling me to events. My first event, my first invitation was in Bangalore. I stay in Mumbai, and a group in Bangalore called me and they said, bring copies of your book. We'll have an event and, you can talk to our members and we will all buy your copies. So that was my first event out of the city. I went to Bangalore and then I was invited to Delhi in a place. And, like that, I started traveling and people started recognizing me as an author. And I really was happy at the way things happened because slowly after 3 months or so after the book release, even a producer got in touch with me and, I want to make a movie on the book. So life totally changed. I was in a classroom and I wanted a creative outlet. And because of the love of all my readers, all of a sudden I was pushed into this author phenomenon that happened.
I can understand. Yes, yes. So you would like your novel to be transformed into the movie. It would be wonderful. Have anyone made movie referring to your novels?
I have signed a few deals. So they are in process. It's happening. So I've signed deals. Maya's New Husband is going to be as a movie. Yakshini, another of my big hits, which we did in 2019, Yakshini. That has also been signed up for a screen adaptation. And I have also signed up Haunted. Haunted is one of my books which Penguin published, and it is co-authored with Jay Alani, who is a paranormal investigator. So Haunted is my book of 10 stories, which has been picked up by a network channel that is Juggernaut Productions is the name of it. It is the sister concern of Epic Channel. Epic Channel on TV, we all know. It's very famous. Web series platform is the Juggernaut Productions, who are making a web series on the show. So yes, a lot of my books are on the way of becoming movies. But let us see when and how that happens, because these things take time. And now because of the pandemic, things have again become slow.
Yes, so, absolutely. Yeah. But at least it's a good start and we are looking forward for that. Absolutely.
It is all again and say. See, I'll admit this hundreds of times. It's all because of the love of my readers. Because I knew nobody. And it was the readers who decided, okay, we have to pick up this book. We have to read this book and give it some love. It's all because it's all.
Yes, absolutely. Good vibrations, good energy. Yes,
absolutely.
So, Neelji, how would you inspire our younger generations with with your writing?
Okay. So I have two things to tell. Number one, always follow your passion, because you know that will never go away. And when you are young, when I was also young, like, you know, at the age of 20, I suppose. So at that time, my focus was on building myself as, you know, building a career, was on making money. Everybody has that focus. When you are 20, you want to rule the world.
Yes.
So I did that for a long time. I made a lot of money. I'll not deny that. Yes, I bought my house, I got married, everything I did. But you know, there was this time later on in my life when I was actually 39. So it was like the midlife. So at that time, I felt like, you know, what I will do, is it all about money? You know, that's the point. Because I've thought that I was getting wasted away. I felt that I had so many stories. The universe wants to tell stories through me. I am going to be an agent, and all these stories of the universe I have in my mind, which I have to give it out. And who will do that if not I? So that was my passion, my creativity, which I did not want to kill. You know, a lot of people, they just murder their creativity, they kill their creativity, and they only think about their work, they think about you know, all the material things in life. लेकिन ऐसा मत करो, क्योंकि आपका जो passion है वो कभी जाएगा नहीं. That will stay as a flame and it will keep burning. I was lucky enough to get that opportunity to take that flame and put it out and burn it and become an author, which I wanted to become. It was my childhood dream. बचपन से मेरा ये सपना था कि जब बुक स्टोर्स में बुक्स होते हैं ना, उधर जो
Yes.
ऑथर का नाम होता है, तो मुझे वो ऑथर
Yes.
का नाम देखकर ऐसा लगता था कि मेरा भी नाम कभी इधर हो. You know, as a child,
Yes. Yes.
लेकिन वो
Yes.
कैसे होगा, कब होगा, I had no clue. But
Yes.
finally,
Yes.
just because I did not, you know, kill that passion of mine, finally, my name is now in the bookstores, and it's such a happy feeling. I tell you, I feel like,
I
you
know.
know,
I can understand.
achieved everything. So that is
Yes.
one. The second thing I want to tell is, do not compromise on what you want to do. So in my terms, when I wanted to write my first book, I wanted to write a horror story. Though I did not know what is horror and stuff like that at that time. 5 साल पहले मुझे कुछ पता नहीं था. I was just very new. But still, I wanted to write this story. Now, 5 years ago, in 2015, the stories that were famous, the books that were becoming bestsellers, were romance, were mythology. So a few people told me, कि, you know, you also write romance. Why do you want to write horror? Horror कोई पढ़ता नहीं है, you know, the thing like that. But I said,
Yes.
no, I know I am good at horror. I'm going to write a horror story. And whatever happens, I want to do it on my own terms. You know, so I wrote a horror story. So I could have written a college romance and it would have sold like 1 lakh copies. I did not do that. I still wrote Maya's New Husband, which is also romance, but a dark romance. And
Yes.
and the book became a hit. So here is another, you know, thing that I learned in life. Ki if you feel that you are good at something, then let the whole world tell you to do something otherwise. Don't listen to them.
Yes.
Listen to your own
Yes.
heart and do that. And I think every person who is in his 20s right now, the younger generation, who are going
Correct.
to come after us, should remember
Yes.
these two. Follow
Yes.
your passion,
Yes.
do not compromise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. One should follow their passion. Yes. Absolutely.
Your voice
Look
is
like. Yeah. I just break. What does literary success look like, and how have you evolved as a writer in these years?
Okay.
Yes.
So one thing that I want to say, कि literature में कोई success नहीं होता है. You know, it's just a passion which you keep doing every day. You sit on your chair, you write your stories, you publish them, people read it, and then you write the next book. And it goes on. It is a cycle. Okay.
Yes.
On the way, you might get a bestseller tag, you might get invited to events, you might get awards. ये सब हो सकता है. That is probably, you know, some people think that is success. But मेरे लिए that is not success. For me, success is to be able to write stories and people should read them. So as long as I am able to write stories, for as long as I am healthy and fit and stuff like that, I am very happy, and that is success for me. So I don't see, if I feel कि चलो आज मैं successful author हो गया, तो क्या हो जाएगा, I will feel complacent. I will feel like I have achieved everything. This is the end of my journey, and I will stop there. A kind of stagnation will happen, which I do not want to happen with my writings. What I'm with my telling stories. So I want to go on. So therefore, I don't believe in this concept of literary success. There is no success. A writer has to keep giving his best till the time he has the capacity to do that.
Correct. Hello.
Yeah, there's a bit of a lag. Now I can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, what do you think? How have you evolved as a writer? Like from first book,
yes,
to the present. Yes.
So in terms of evolution, yes, I'm writing stories. I don't, you cannot really measure that. It's a very difficult thing for me because my journey has been very short now. It's just 6 years. If it is about it's not even a decade. So I cannot say how I have matured. But yes, I'll tell you something, that readers' feedback helps a lot. So when readers review the books, and my people who they tell me that okay, your story worked for us, this thing worked, this thing did not work. So that kind of thing helps us decide what is good, and you slowly somehow start incorporating those ideas. So I don't think there is an evolution, because I feel that Maya's New Husband is also as good, which I wrote in 2015, as the book that I'm writing now. So as generally, I don't think that there is a kind of a change. Not so soon, only in 6 years. Maybe down the line there will be. At that time we'll have a discussion.
Yes. Yes. Okay. And what kind of research do you do? This is a good question. What kind of research do you do, and how long you spend researching before beginning your book? Yeah, before beginning to write your book. Yes.
So a lot of research goes into writing. That is, anything that you write, there will be a lot of research, because you want to write stories which are, if there is a fact, then that fact has to be accurate. So research is a very important part of writing. Now, in my case, I write both kinds. I write fiction as well as non-fiction. So in my fiction stories, like Maya's New Husband or Yakshini or Pichach, when I was writing that, the stories are fiction. That means I have fabricated, I have made the stories. But the thing is, in Maya's New Husband, there is this whole legend of the Aghoris. The story has a lot of Aghora culture in it. So when I had to write those scenes involving Aghoris, I had to make sure that I was authentic. I was not telling anything that was false. And secondly, I did not want to hurt anybody's feelings. So I had to read a lot. I read a lot of literature on the Aghori culture. I asked a few people. I asked people who had met Aghoris, what was their experience like. And based on that, I built my story. So that kind of research happens. Research is mostly reading and going through documents and stuff and asking people. I like to ask people about their experiences, because that gives a different flavor. And people will also tell about their impression about it. So that gives a totally different feel. Reading a document is passive, but when you are asking somebody about it, you get a different, tadka masala and all that. That helps.
Yes.
I had to follow a completely different kind of research for my 2 non-fiction books, Haunted, that is with Jayalani, and The Spirits Talk to Me, which is with Sarbajit Mohanty. Now, in both of these books, what I have done is I have told their stories. So Jay and Sarbajit, both of them are paranormal investigators, which means they have this fabulous job of going to haunted locations all over India, and they stay there They poke around and try to see whether there were ghosts in those places or not. So that is what Jay and Sarvajit both do. So both of these books, they are their adventures, what they did. So for that, I had to do research in the terms. First and foremost, I had to learn the stories of Jay and Sarvajit both. It was not just about the stories, but I had also to understand their personalities. Like who is Jay? Like if you are writing a book on Jay Alani, of course you have to know first who is Jay, right? So we met so many times, countless times, hours and hours we spent. And I just asked Jay so many questions like, what is his ideology? What was his childhood like? And how did he come into this profession? Same with Sarvajit. We had lunches and dinners together, just talking and understanding each other. And then they would send me the stories. Like Jay has gone to Kuldhara, Mayong, Bhangad. Same like Sarvajit. Sarvajit goes to people's houses when they have, bhoot ki koi baat hoti hai ghar mein. Something like that, something haunted is going on. So Sarvajit they call, and Sarvajit with his team at pairs. Pooja Vijay is his partner in this profession. Both of them they go and they poke around and also I had to understand what they actually do. Sarvajit uses a lot of gadgets like they
Okay.
are, yeah, so they, the ghost meters and infrared thermometers. So all these gadgets I
Oh,
had to understand. And one, they have this wonderful gadget called as a ghost box, in which it's a box which you just keep around, and if there is a ghost, then the voice of the ghost comes out of that box. So it's a
ah,
special device that we use. So I wanted to know
yes,
how to use it. So all these things, actually going to see that device, then going to the haunted location and seeing them use it. That was
yes, yes.
so this kind of research I do a lot. It's fun, and being a horror
Yes.
writer, you have to do that.
Very adventurous. Yes, yes. It's kind of a thrilling experience. Like,
It's
yes,
hair raising
absolutely.
because you are living
Yes,
in a world of ghosts.
yes, yes. Uh, is there any secret behind writing this novel? Like you are writing all the horror movies and all that. Is there any secret?
Secret behind writing my novels, my horror novels, I maybe it is the way that I, as a child, I have come till so far. So the secret is, one of the secrets that I say is that as a child, I was quite a cowardly child. I used to be frightened of each and everything. I was frightened of the darkness. I was frightened of being alone in the house. And if there is a kind of, anybody dies in the society, then I used to be really very disturbed. Full day I would be thinking about it. I would not be able to focus on any activity. So as a child, I was very, very scared of each and everything. So I grew up with
Oh,
that. Maybe
really?
that, absolutely. And maybe that is the reason why I started writing horror. Because, writing and reading horror was a way for me to overcome those fears. It was.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Because like
Wonderful.
some people जिनको बहुत डर लगता है ना, they don't touch horror. कि हम लोग horror movie
Yes,
नहीं देखते,
yes.
बाप रे, बहुत डर लगता है ना, that kind of thing. But मैं उल्टा था. My, my thing was I am scared. So let me watch this horror movie and देखते ना क्या होता है. Let us
Uh,
see how
le-
I get.
yeah.
So slowly I started watching, as I told you, horror books I started reading, horror movies I started watching slowly, and there I felt that I was becoming braver and braver. My fears were going. Okay, so
Okay.
I
You were
remember,
overcoming your fears. Okay.
yes. So I remember one experience I'll tell you. Though I am a Mumbai boy. Okay, I grew up in Mumbai, in Malad.
Yes.
I still live in Mumbai. So my colony when I was a child was a very old society. 40 साल हो चुके थे, and it was rumored that it is built on an ancient graveyard. इधर कब्रिस्तान हुआ करता था और उस पे ये
Okay.
मस्जिद बनी हुई
Wow.
थी. ये एक रूमर
Yes.
था. तो हम लोग जब भी फ्रेंड्स बैठते थे और बात करते थे तो वो होता था कि मतलब है ना, वो एरिया में नहीं जाने का जो बिल्डिंग का लास्ट पार्ट है, क्योंकि उधर वो कब्रिस्तान हुआ
Okay.
करता था, वहां नहीं जाना है. सो ऑल दोस काइंड्स ऑफ थिंग्स, दीज ऑल हॉरर स्टोरीज वर गोइंग अराउंड. So, and yeah, that was a part of my fear, because I told you I was very scared as a child. तो ये सब stories सुन के ज़्यादा ही डर लगता था मुझे. Then a time came when I felt कि क्या होता होगा उधर, what is there, why are people so scared, why do people tell me, इसमें कुछ मतलब whether there is कोई सच्चाई है या ऐसे ही बोल रहे हैं लोग. So I think I was in 9th standard or something. So we had morning classes and all. So one day in the very early morning, like 6:30 baje honge, winter season, so it was still dark, right?
Yes.
And what happened is I took a challenge कि मैं अभी ये darkness में, ये अंधेरे में, I'll go that side and see what happens. So our building was very huge, that society was huge. So going to that end means it is a big distance. So still in the morning I started, and I came down just before going to school. In the school uniform I was dressed and all, and I started walking towards that far end of the building, and gathering all my guts, somehow I walked, and it was completely dark. Like everybody was asleep, and also it was dark, and it was the end of the building. So behind that there was just slums and stuff, so nothing you can see also. But somehow I went, and bhag ke I crossed that whole path. And when I crossed that path, afterwards I was never scared of that region again. I was not scared. वो डर जो था मन में कि this is
it just went away. Yes.
So while going through that, it was an adventure, and it, my heart was beating so fast, but I did it, and that is how. So this is my secret. When I write horror, one of the reasons why I write horror is because I'm challenging myself, and that is what I tell all my readers also. या जो लोग हॉरर नहीं पढ़ते हैं स्पेशली उनको कि ना डर कर आप सिर्फ बैठे हुए होगे तो नहीं होने वाला है. रीडिंग हॉरर इज जस्ट लाइक गोइंग टू एन अम्यूजमेंट पार्क. आप उसको मतलब रोलर कोस्टर व्हेन यू गेट डर लगता है, नहीं बैठना है, लेकिन एक बार आप बैठो, then you will know what the thrill is.
That thing goes away. Absolutely.
And it becomes a lifetime experience. It's like some bungee jumping, yeah, anything, any adventure sport. So that is what, just let yourself go, and you will find that that fear will go away. That's what's happened to me. That's my secret.
Wonderful, wonderful. It inspires us a lot. Yes, yes. And the last question before ending our wonderful session, Nilji, what message, empowering, inspiring message would you like to give to Russell Book of Club, to our young readers, to our authors, to our writers? What message you would like to give?
So I have already said two important things that have helped my life. That is, you should you should take that plunge and let your creative flame keep burning, because it will never go away. And second is that you should never compromise. So these things are the things. And then one important thing that I would like to repeat, again, I've said this, is do not be scared, to go for new experiences. Because that is what life is about. Our life is going to be very short. So I feel, now I'm in my 40s. So I feel like, अरे मैं 20 साल का होता तभी मैंने वो क्यों नहीं किया, मैंने ये क्यों नहीं किया. So, you keep on feeling those things, that why did I not do that? And that time is never going to come back. I'm never going to be 20 again. If you are 20, your book club members are 20 now, they are never going to be 15 again. तो 15 साल के कर देना चाहिए था जो उन्हें करना था, provided it's a constructive thing. Okay. So I feel that if you think that there is something that is driving your life, that is really your passion, then you should not let it go and learn new experiences. And of the many experiences that I am talking about, it's also about, one of the dreams that I have is to, just go on a solo trip around the world. So that I have not done yet. So it's like, yeah, abhi to pandemic aa gaya, but still the thing is, how far will I keep myself away? So I feel that pandemic hone ke baad, that is the one thing that I have to really do. I have to go, I have to travel, and I have to explore. Okay, just sitting around in your area, in your city, you are not going to learn the world's experiences. Correct? So
correct.
So that is the whole thing. I feel we should just go and let ourselves fall into that swimming pool. Tabhi to swimming aayega.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And especially this COVID pandemic has taught us lots of things. To follow your passion, do things we were not doing, spending time with your family, following your passion, do what
Yes.
you like.
Correct.
Lots of things this pandemic has taught us.
और अब जब हम घर पर बैठे हैं लॉकडाउन में, तब हमें ऐसा लगता है कि मतलब जो चीजें हम नहीं कर सकते हैं, we are feeling the pinch of it more. Like just going for a family outing. पहले first when we had to go to family outing, हम लोग बहाना बना लेते थे कि अभी नहीं जाना है, कल जाएंगे, परसों जाएंगे, टाल देते थे. बट आज घर पर बैठ के ऐसे लग रहा है कि अरे वो हम इतना इजीली कर सकते थे उस वक्त, अभी हम नहीं कर पा रहे.
We took everything for granted, I think.
Yes, we did take everything for granted, and you don't know how time change.
Yes.
एक झटके में क्या हो जाएगा, you don't know. So just
absolutely
take life as it comes.
Correct.
Enjoy, and that is all. It's not all about just money, fame, these all things just keep coming.
Absolutely.
What we actually need to do is what is the main motive of our life we have to find out, and we have to just let us go.
Yes. So thank you so much, Neilji, for having, it was wonderful having you in our Russell Book of Club, and it was a wonderful interactive session. So thank you so much, and namaskar ji.
Thank you so much for having me, for inviting me to your book club.
Yes.
And I hope that people take my books and read them because I have
absolutely
just Maya's New Husband sequel. The book has done really well. So do check out Maya's New Husband, both the parts, and my other very famous book, Yakshini. It's famous because you people made it famous. And read it, find out what the story is about, what people are talking about. Thank you so much, Ms. Anar Mehta.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thanks for having me, and have a great day. Thanks.
You too. Take care and blessings. Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'll leave.